evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Inside Pitch with me, Joe Mansolino, and my co-host / producer, Mr. Brian Lehman. Brian, how are you today?
I'm doing great. How are you doing, Joe?
Good. Doing great, thank you. Doing great. Ready to talk some baseball. Tonight we're going to talk about a very frustrating topic, how our game of baseball isn't baseball anymore. They're just ruining the game in lots of people's opinions, lots of our guests' opinions that we've had on. And we knew we were going to talk about that tonight. And coincidentally, on Monday, USA Today came out with an article where people like Goose Gossage, Pete Rose, Lou Piniella, Joe Madden, all talking about how the game is unwatchable now. It's really, really sad. You know, and they mentioned things that we've talked about before, how there's no more strategy in the game. There's no more hit and runs. There's no stolen bases. The strategy they use are shifts to move everybody to one side because a guy can't hit to the other side. Well, that's not strategy. That's pathetic because people don't know how to hit anymore. They can't hit to the opposite field. They can't, and that's because they're not taught to swing level anymore. They're taught to swing up and have a launch angle, which is ruining the game. These guys are batting 200 and they're successful because they have 30 or 40 home runs and everybody's happy with that. It's ridiculous.
See, it's funny. When I was a kid, we used to have launch angle also. That just meant you were popping it straight up so the catcher could go, oh, look, there's the ball.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's really frustrating what they're doing. And then things that we've talked about before, the designated hitter who are not baseball players, they're baseball hitters. Then you have the one-inning pitcher where, it's okay for a starter to go 4, 5, 6 innings, and they think that's a great thing. Oh, it's not a great thing. They're really ruining the game of baseball. So that's going to be our subject for tonight. And I'm guessing with that, we'll be getting a call from Mr. Yankee because he's a great listener and I know has his opinion on things, I'm sure.
No, he's got an opinion on something like that?
He might even get passionate. We love Mr. Yankee. We love him. So hopefully you are listening and you'll call in when we're looking for it. But the game is just not the game anymore.
Good point.
It's just so frustrating. Every team is losing fans. They're all making their money though because baseball, sells it to all the different TV channels and TV is paying the bills.
Yeah, but as we all know, that may be true for now, but the economics of it all is the more people stay away from the game, the less TV's going to be willing to pay because they know there's a direct correlation. If fans aren't coming to the game, they're not watching the game.
Right. Because people are starting to not care. Nobody wants to see, showboating. They don't want to watch a guy hit a home run and just stand there and look at it. They don't want to watch them get out on the field and cheer for themselves and, do the, yeah, I beat you thing. And it's just so frustrating. And even in Little League now, we're watching the Little League World Series, and you see kids throwing their mitts down. And, I mean, it's just terrible what these big leaguers are teaching the kids today who are coming up to play the game.
Good point. And it's funny because it used to be when I was a little kid playing, and whenever we'd hit the ball out of the park, sure, we'd stand there and watch it go, but that was because people like me were like, I can't believe I actually hit the dang thing. Did I mention I was the strikeout king?
Yeah, you were the strikeout king.
I've got a jersey.
That's pretty good. But wait a minute. You never pitched.
I pitched 1 inning.
Oh, okay.
I fit in real well with the current major leaguers. I pitched my 1 inning well. I threw 6 pitches.
1 inning, 1 game in a career.
Exactly.
Hey, maybe it'll get you in the Hall of Fame. In about 15 years, that'll probably get you in the Hall of Fame.
Scary thought.
That is a scary thought. But that's where we're heading.
Especially when, it's a scary thought, and I'm kind of going off course for a second, but when you got great players who don't get in, and then you got some of these guys playing now that everybody thinks are great, and you're looking at them like, guys just not doing much.
Yeah. Like even some of the people getting inducted in the Hall of Fame this year. Okay, yeah, you were a great hitter, but did you play a position, or did you just sit there and wait to hit again? That it's, and you look at guys who aren't in, and we say it over and over, guys like Maury Wills, who was a complete player, changed the whole concept of the game into stealing bases and earning your runs, making runs happen, and he's not in. pitchers like Jim Cott aren't in, Tommy John. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy.
See, the funny thing is, and you bring up these names, and there's one guy who we went and saw this past week, who he's done a lot for a guy that would sometimes be a designated hitter or whatnot, or whatever. When he would go in, it was magic. He did things. It's not like these guys are like, well, I'm hitting 200. I'm the designated hitter. It's tough to sit on the bench all day.
Yeah, and Brian's talking about a former guest on the show this year, Bernie Carbo. We were able to support him at a charity event this week, and it was very good to see him again. Bernie's always a great addition to Inside Pitch, and that was a lot of fun. But yeah, he was, he would DH, but he was a player too. He played the outfield. He contributed to his team's wins, offensively and defensively.
See, I contributed to my team's wins, usually by sitting on the bench.
Hey, you need those guys too. Every team needs bench players. You never know.
Well, that's just it. It may be cool in the fall, and you need somebody to keep the seat warm for when the pitcher comes in. He can sit down and feel comfortable.
The Yankees had a bench player for a little while by the name of Lou Gehrig, and when he finally got in because of an injury,
couldn't get him out.
You couldn't get him out. Exactly right. Exactly right. Those of you listening, you have topics you'd like us to talk about, questions you'd like us to answer, please feel free to email us at myinsidepitch@gmail.com. No spaces, myinsidepitch@gmail.com, and we will respond to your questions and comments at any time.
And don't forget, this afternoon, or at the end of the broadcast, we'll also have a trivia question.
That's right. And without Googling, if you know the answer, we'd like to see it. We know all of you can Google.
Well, yeah, but that's my special trait.
No cheating, and let's see how many of you really know it.
See, Joe's always good about coming up with these trivia questions because he doesn't come up with a one about, the simple stuff. He always goes and finds something that you had to pay attention.
That a real baseball fan needs to know.
Yes.
That's what I'm looking for. That's what I'm looking for. All right, let's talk a little about what's going on in baseball today. In the National League, in the East, the Braves are in first place, playing very well. The Nationals are behind them, followed by the Mets and Phillies, and then the Marlins are looking forward to next year already. In the Central Division of the National League, we have the Cardinals and the Cubs neck and neck fighting for first, with the Brewers right behind them. Behind them is the Cincinnati Reds, and then the Pittsburgh Pirates are pulling up the rear in the Central. And in the National League West, the Dodgers are far in front of everybody else, having a great season, one of the best records in baseball, followed by the Giants, the Diamondbacks, the Padres, and the Rockies. In the American League, Mr. Yankee will be happy. The Yankees are in first place in the East, followed by the Rays, who are having a very good year in Tampa. Then the Boston Red Sox, the Toronto Blue Jays, and the Baltimore Orioles are, I think, waiting for 2022 to get going. They are just really out of it. And then in the Central Division in the American League, we have the Minnesota Twins and the Cleveland Indians battling for first, followed by the Chicago White Sox, the Kansas City Royals, and the Detroit Tigers, who are there with Baltimore, thinking where they're going to be in a couple years. And in the West, the Astros, playing great baseball, are in first place in the West, followed by the Oakland A's. Then the Angels and the Rangers are fighting to be in third, and the Seattle Mariners are pulling up the rear. And that is where we stand in baseball today. Some pretty good teams in first place. There's a lot of people already talking about World Series with the Dodgers and the Yankees again, kind of like the 60s and 70s.
Interesting. Yep. I'm kind of interested to get your take on some of the stuff going on in baseball, because I know we've already talked a little bit about the way they do things through analytics and whatnot, but there's a lot of stuff, subtle stuff, that the fan at home doesn't necessarily see. They just sit there and scratch their head, as we've talked about before. Why in God's green earth are they pulling this pitcher? You know, he struck out 3 guys in a row, and you're pulling him.
Yeah.
You know, what
Yeah,
are you thinking?
because analytics tells you that that's all he can do, or that he can't get this next guy out. You know, when you talk to pitchers from the 60s and 70s, they want to get him out. It's not okay here, take the ball. You know, and you saw earlier this year one of those old school guys, Max Scherzer, they came out to pull him, and he said, "No, I'm not coming out. I can get this guy out," and he did. You know, that this philosophy today and the game today, which is going to be our topic, is just not the game of baseball anymore. And in 10 years, I don't know if there's going to be any real baseball fans.
I know in my own case, I used to watch a lot, and I don't watch nearly as much anymore because it's not as fun.
It's not as exciting. There's nothing exciting about sitting to see if someone hits a home run. You know, stealing a base, having a hit and run, making things happen is what's exciting. Not, okay, is this guy going to strike out for the 5th time today, or is he going to hit that one home run? And when's it going to happen? That's not baseball. That's not exciting at all.
It's kind of, I'm not going to go there. I was going to say, it reminds me, when you bring up the stealing the base, remember that Mississippi Mud Hens manager a number of years ago? They went out in the field and took the plate out of the field.
Took a base with him?
Yes.
Yeah, there's a few guys. Lou Piniella had did that a few times. He'd take a base out of the ground and carry it around, or in Lou's case, throw it as far as he could.
Yeah, but that was fun, actually.
It was a lot of fun because he was trying to make things happen. Did he know he was going to get kicked out of the game? Of course. But it was going to add excitement to his players. He sees that they stand behind him. And they're going to go out and do the magic thing. Make something happen. Not sit and wait for a home run. Make something happen. Lou was a great motivator. Tommy Lasorda was a great motivator. Billy Martin, how he's not in the Hall of Fame as a manager, I will never know. He was a great manager.
Billy Martin was a great story. That guy, his stories in the off season a lot of times were just as entertaining as the stuff he did during the season.
Billy was a character. He was a character. We will leave it at that.
Aw.
Mr. Yankee may share stories about Billy Martin one day, but we will leave it at he was a character. That whole group of, Billy Martin, Mickey Mantle, Whitey Ford, that whole group, they were just they enjoyed themselves on and off the field. On and off the field. They were great. But today's topic is baseball is not what it's used to be, and we called it. We have a caller. Mr. Yankee is calling in and on the phone.
Sure. Hang on one second. Let me get him on the phone with us. All right. What we're going to do
Guess
is...
what? We're going to start again.
That's shocking.
Okay.
All right. All right. On the line with us, we've got Mr. Yankee. Joe, say hello to Mr. Yankee.
Hey, Mr. Yankee, I knew with today's subject you'd be calling. We are, as you know, we are talking about baseball, and it's not the game that we grew up loving and playing. How you doing today?
Good, Joe. Before we begin, I'd like to give a shout out
Go for it.
to police dogs, service dogs, military dogs. These are the people don't realize how much of heroes they are. From they can smell drugs, they can smell bombs. They are great companions, and boy, they stick up for you. Talk about loyalty.
Boy, that's for sure. They really are. The things they can do is amazing.
Guys, and the criminals, you can't outrun them either.
That's for sure.
They are such wonderful parts of a society.
Yes, they are.
Yes, they are. And I also would like to say there was an SC featured last night on Rocky Blyer. Hey, selfish athletes out there, take a tip from him.
Boy, that's for sure.
He got drafted out of high school, and then got to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Then got drafted to go to the military. Went to the military. Didn't try and get out. Was shot and wounded, and they said he would never walk again. But not only did he walk again, but he was a vital part of 4 Super Bowls.
That's
And
for
you
sure.
never hear this guy, Joe, you never hear him complaining about anything. These new guys today, Joe, you sign a contract, you got to live it out.
That's true. They'll sign these long-term contracts, and then in 3 or 4 years, when somebody's making more money than them, they want to renegotiate. Then don't sign a long-term contract.
Right. And if you can't live on 20, 30 million, then there's something wrong with you.
Exactly. It's time to cut your entourage in half.
Hey, give me that opportunity. I'll show you how to live on 20 million.
You know what? I'll split that 20 million with you, and I think we'll both last forever.
Oh my God. Okay, Joe. So let's get on this thing. Baseball is not the same. You can go too far with analytics on anything.
And I think analytics has gotten carried away, and I know you saw that USA Today article on Monday about all those guys, Goose Gossage,
Yes.
Pete Rose, Piniella, Joe Madden, all talking about baseball now being unwatchable.
Well, Joe, you can't have robo umps. You can't steal first base. I never heard of such a thing. And you can't put a guy on a base just to put him on base because you want to end the game.
Yeah, and that's
not
true.
baseball.
And for those of you that don't know what he's talking about, Major League Baseball is testing things in the minor leagues where balls and strikes are being called by a machine. A computer is calling the balls and strike. No human contact, no umpire back there, which I think is absolutely ridiculous. When a game goes into extra innings, when you come up to bat in the top of the 10th, you have a guy on second base already. How he got there, we don't know. The only thing I can think of is that instead of BB for base on balls, a K for strikes, 1B, 2B, whatever kind you hit, they're going to come up with a new stat to show how you got on base called CS, because putting them out there for nothing is chicken shit as far as I'm concerned.
That's so true. And stealing first base, so have you ever heard of such a stupid thing?
No, they throw a wild pitch and the batter can drop the bat and run to first. That's it. What are they doing to our game?
I don't know. And guys, in the old days, if you couldn't pitch a complete game, you weren't in the major leagues.
Right. This one inning pitcher stuff is just ridiculous. You know, they're not brought up to throw more than 5 or 6 innings, and that's just pathetic. No more hit and runs, like the article said. No more hit and runs. No more stealing bases. Way too many shifts. You know, back in the days, can you see Pete Rose, Rod Carew? How do you beat a shift? You hit it to the opposite field. These guys don't know how. They don't swing level. They teach you how to, what's your launch angle. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous.
How's this for a fact, Joe? For the 12th consecutive season, hitters are on pace to break the strikeout record with 42,607 in a year. Oh, Joe. Oh my God.
That's pathetic. Yeah, where has it turned that a guy can strike out 300 times in a season, but if he has 30 home runs, he's a success, even if he's only batting 202. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy.
Yogi Berra and Joe DiMaggio sometimes struck out 30 times in a season.
Yeah, in a
Joe
season.
DiMaggio, a home run hitter, Joe.
Yeah.
He had as many strikeouts as he had home runs in his career. That's incredible.
Yeah. Some of these guys strike out 30 times in a month.
Yeah. I mean, and Yogi, the greatest hitting philosophy, Yogi Berra, see it, hit it.
That's what he said. See it and hit it.
And
he did.
And that's what he did. And you know what? When it came time in the ninth inning, you rather face a mantle than you would a Yogi.
Boy, that's for sure. He was clutch as clutch can be. That's one of the many reasons he's in the Hall of Fame.
Well, why? Because he put the ball in play.
Right.
Simple.
Right.
He put the ball in play every time, and he was dangerous. he'd swing a ball over his head and bounce off the ground. But Joe, he connected. Great story. Derek Jeter's up and he swings at a bad pitch, and he comes back and Yogi says, "Why you swing at that?" And Jeter says, "Yeah, but you used to swing at those." He says, "Yeah, but at least I hit him."
That's Yogi. You gotta love him.
Oh yeah, you gotta love Yogi. Oh, here's another great stat: 36%, Joe. That's 1/3 of all plate appearances have resulted in a strikeout, a homer, or a walk.
Oh my!
Oh my God! That's 3 innings of every game. Home run, strikeout, or walk. These guys, oh my God, that's they're putting up numbers of homers. But what the hell good is that, Joe?
Yeah.
Tell me.
Yeah, I don't understand. I was at a game not too long ago, and the scoreboard showed a guy up, and it showed ops and all these other things. It didn't even show what his batting average was. It didn't show how many home runs he had. It was ridiculous.
No. How about this? The Phillies brought back Charlie Manuel, 75 years old, to be their hitting coach, and the Phillies are now on a pretty good streak.
Yeah, imagine that. Because Charlie's going to focus on, swinging level, doing the right things, those kind of things.
Yeah.
And
yet these guys,
exactly.
these rookies today, this guy Aquino, 11 home runs in the first 17 games. That's going to drop in there. You know what? That doesn't mean he's a great player.
Absolutely. That's absolutely right. Not at all. I mean, that's that's what they're looking for today. They don't care. They just want the home run. They're still stuck on this getting out of the steroid issue when Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa got them out of, got fans interested in the game again after the strike, and they just want to see home runs. They don't want to see anything else. And the game, like the article said, it was perfectly stated. The game's just not the same. And so many real baseball fans are turning away from baseball.
Look, Joe, I don't want to see 10 pitchers in a game.
Right.
I want to see a pitcher start, go as long as he can. Then you got the relief pitchers. As far as these one-inning pitchers, Joe, if you're a decent major leaguer, you should be able to pitch one good inning.
If you're a good major league player, you should be able to pitch one inning. I don't care if you're a pitcher or not.
Yeah, you should. And I'll tell you something. Joe Torre ruined the save because there were three. I'll tell you why he did it, Joe. He brought Mariano Rivera in every time. 3-run lead, 2-run lead. That's not a save, Joe.
Right. They need to change that rule back.
A save is 9th inning, tying runs on, then you come in.
Right.
But you can't come in with a 3-run lead and get a save. And
No.
he kept doing it, and he's still doing it. Pitcher pitches 8 good innings. He comes out, and here's this 1-inning pitcher.
Yeah, and he did
What
it.
the
He
hell
did it
is
for
that,
no
Joe?
other reason than to build up his stats. That was the only reason he did it.
And here's the thing. Mariano Rivera and Yankee fans, please, don't get pissed. Great human being. He got 100% because he was a great human being. Great 1-inning pitcher, that's not pitching. He couldn't make it as a starter.
Right. That's how he became a reliever in the first place. He couldn't make it as a starter.
Right. Once you get to that 4th and 5th inning, these are major league hitters, Joe. I don't care what you throw. The cutter works for 1 inning, 2 innings. Doesn't work for 3, 4, or 5 innings.
Right. That's a definite.
And Tony, I think Tony La Russa started with Dennis Eckersley. Eckersley was a good pitcher, not a great pitcher. So he decided to come in one inning at a time. And Eck was great. He started throwing these curveballs and sliders and all this stuff from 1 inning. Nobody could touch him.
Right.
And that's where they made this stat called save. Now they got a stat called hold. they got a stat called opener. What? Joe, we don't know these stats. This is a baseball game. It's not a science fair.
And that's what they're trying to do. I mean, it really is pathetic. And then it gets, not only do they not teach you how to hit to the opposite field, how to swing level, the strategies, hit and run, steal a base. Not only are they not doing that anymore, but it's the attitude of the players too. Where as soon as you're hit by a pitch, you charge the mound. When you hit a homer, you stand, you watch it, you taunt the pitcher, you celebrate on the field. And what's really frustrating is if you're watching the Little League World Series right now, kids today are doing that.
Yeah.
They're mocking the other players. They're doing crazy things because that's what the big leaguers do.
They're flipping their bats. Come on, guys. Let's make it a clean sportsman game like it used to be.
Right.
It's not like that anymore, Joe.
No, it sure isn't. That article hit it right on the head. Those of you who haven't read it, you need to go to usatoday.com and look up Monday's article on baseball, where they call it unwatchable.
And here's a stat. Entering Sunday, the league was on pace for 6,823 homers, more than 700 above the record set in 2017. 6,000 homers, Joe.
That is absolutely amazing and pathetic. And how far, here's what I'd like them to show. How much has batting averages dropped?
Yo, that don't even count anymore.
Yeah,
Joe.
they don't even show that stat anymore.
Yeah, batting average doesn't count. Wins on a pitcher doesn't count anymore because it's hard. So they're taking away everything that we grew up. But when it was a game, there's a 3-disc set called when it was a game.
Right.
If you can, people buy it. Because it's all about Mantle and Ruth. I mean, Mantle and Mays and Aaron. Wow, that was an era.
That was an era. The 60s and 70s were, I think, when baseball was at its best. So many of those guys are the key figures in the Hall of Fame, in the record books. It was great baseball, absolutely fantastic.
And they played baseball, Joe.
Right.
And they played baseball.
Right.
Now, and the pitchers pitched and the players played. You didn't just hit or you didn't want to look. You want to have a specialty wing in the Hall of Fame for designated hitters and relief pitchers. Fine. They don't deserve to be with the regular regular players and pitchers, Joe.
I agree with that 100%. I agree with that 100% because a designated hitter isn't a baseball player. He's a hitter.
No.
A one-inning pitcher isn't a pitcher.
And a relief pitcher comes in after the starter.
Right.
Starting pitcher, this Hall of Fame, this Hall of Fame with Edgar Martinez and Rivera and Lee Smith and Harold Baines. Those are great specialty players. Give them credit. Give them credit. But
right. They were great at what their jobs. You can't take that away from them. They did great at what they were paid to do.
Right. I mean, Mike Messina was the only guy that really deserved, and it took him so many years to get in. He had 270 wins playing in the American League East.
Right. A tough division.
He
Especially
played when he was
back
with Baltimore. He played the Yankees, and then when he was at the Yankees, he played the rest of them.
Right.
Throughout his whole career.
Yeah.
And it took him a while. It took him a while to get into the Hall.
There's so many deserving players who aren't in yet that need to be in. Players where it took them way too long to get in. Some, unfortunately, after they've passed on. It's really, and then the years go where they don't put anybody in. It's just baseball's killing itself.
I mean, Jim Cott, Jim Cott pitched over 4,000 innings. Rivera pitched over 1,000. So.
Yeah, what does that say?
How many?
So how is Jim Cott not in? And he was more than a pitcher. He a Gold Glove winner repeatedly.
13 of them, Joe.
Yeah.
13 Gold Gloves, 280 wins, and he's not in the Hall of Fame.
Right, 4,000 innings pitched, and here comes Rivera with 25% of that, and he's in. It makes no sense.
Yeah, Rivera pitched one inning at a time. Look, and I think A-Rod and J-Lo said it best. He got 100% because of what he did off the field.
I think that's true. I think that has a lot to do with it. And nothing to take away from the fact that, as a closer for one inning, he probably is the best one-inning pitcher there ever was. But
right.
That, then like you said, then he goes in the special.
He was a nice guy. He built churches and everything. Give us, all right. Pete Rose will never get 100% because he's the most disliked player in history.
Well, and I think that's part of why they're not putting him in, because so many people didn't like him.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, they should be in a separate wing as the Hall, just like what you were saying. There should be a specialty wing, and that's where those guys belong.
Because Joe Torre used to bring in Mariano for no reason, Joe.
Yeah,
for no reason.
Yeah, just like what you said, and it was just to build up his stats, and it worked.
I mean, they got guys today. A pitcher goes, they didn't let him finish the game.
Right.
That's because finishing the game doesn't mean as much as a quality start.
Yeah, and that's ridiculous. A quality start is a complete game. The league leader in complete games last year had 2. There was a couple of them, but they had 2. That's ridiculous.
And you know what?
Koufax had 2 in a week.
The quality start for Sandy Koufax was against all these guys. 9 innings shutout.
Right.
Against the best competition in baseball history.
Every team he played had at least 1 or 2 Hall of Famers on it, and that was his quality start. A complete game shutout is what he wanted every game.
People, if you don't think Sandy Koufax is the greatest pitcher of all time, you really don't know baseball. I'm sorry.
Well,
I'm sorry.
And
you gotta look.
We can talk about that a little bit. I think part of why baseball is changing and isn't baseball anymore. The players today don't know the history of baseball itself. They don't know the history of their teams, and I think they need to know that. That's a whole big issue. I think every team in spring training should hold little classes on the history of the game and then on the history of their own team. Baseball 101 and whatever team you're on 101, and teach them about their team and the game itself. And that's just not happening.
Well, so I'd like to do a little history about my team, okay?
I'm going to guess that's, let me see, the Boston Red Sox?
Yeah.
Is that it, Mr.
How
Yankee?
About the Cleveland Indians. Okay, so, ladies and gentlemen, Yankee fans, your team was originally called, and don't fall on the floor, the Baltimore Orioles. That's what your team was originally called, because they could only have, at that time, one team in each city because they didn't have 2 leagues. 2 years later, the American League came in, and they moved to New York from Baltimore and became the New York Highlanders. Then finally, I believe in 1913, they became the New York Yankees. You got that, Yankee fans? Now, Baltimore Orioles, that's right. Now, 1918, Boston Red Sox won their 5th championship in 15 years. They had a manager named Ed Barrow, and they had a pitcher by the name of Babe Ruth, who could also hit pretty good. Well, Harry Frazee decided to trade Babe Ruth, or to give Babe Ruth to the New York Yankees for the money. Now, Ed Barrow decided he wanted to go to to the Yankees, and he took over their general managing, basically. Now, what did Ed Barrow do? Well, he changed Ruth into a full-time hitter. He drafted guys like, I don't know, Lou Gehrig, Tony Lazzari, Joe DiMaggio. He made George Weiss the head of his farm system. Not only that, this guy Barrow, Joe, was responsible for 10 championships. George Weiss 7. 2 men, two general managers. And Barrow also got in the 1923 World Series. There were 4 position players and 4 pitchers from his team, the Boston Red Sox.
That he brought over to the Yankees. Yeah, he brought over a lot more than Babe Ruth.
Yeah, I mean, guys, don't say the curse of the Bambino. It was the curse of Harry Frazee, the owner, and the curse of Ed Barrow. That's who made this champion. Not one player. Yeah, Babe Ruth was the greatest player of all time, but he did not make the Yankees into what they were. The greatest Yankee of all time. Are you listening, Yankee fans? Ed Barrow.
And I'll bet you most Yankee fans don't even know who he is.
No. So look him up. He made the dynasty. He made the Yankees relevant. And George Weiss, who was a great minor league guy. I mean, as far as the farm, he got the farm system going. He drafted a lot of great players, Yogi, Mickey, and all those great Yankee and the Yankee teams. But he was hired by Ed Barrow. So your first 19 championships, Ed Barrow and George Weiss.
Yeah, former Red Sox.
So who's the greatest Yankee of all time, guys? Come on. It's Ed Barrow who started the dynasty, and if it wasn't for Harry Frazee, he would have never left Boston. He should have. The worst thing Harry Frazee did was letting Ed Barrow go to the Yankees, not selling Babe Ruth.
Yeah, because Barrow knew what he had when he was managing the Red Sox and got all those guys over to the Yankees with him when he went there as GM. Pretty smart man.
Because Boston was a great team, Joe. 5 out of 15 championships.
Right.
So Barrow knew the farm system, and because he made all these crazy trades, Barrow would give him these washed-up Yankees, and he would give Barrow all the great players that played for him.
Yeah. Can you imagine giving all those guys away and then watching the Yankees win all those repetitive championships? Just amazing.
Oh, my God. Everybody says the curse of the Bambino. No. It's the curse of Harry Frazee and the curse of Ed Barrow. You blame Harry Frazee for letting Barrow go.
And that's true. And I'll guarantee you most Yankee fans don't know that. Well, and so let me ask you this question. Speaking about management and GMs, do you think Ed Barrow is the best general manager ever?
Well, Joe, according to the poll they took, it's Branch Rickey.
I think that's a great pick. I think that's a great pick for a lot of reasons.
Yes, one is he started the farm system.
Right. The Major Leagues use today,
when
right?
When he was with the Cardinals.
Right.
And he did the most amazing thing in the history of baseball, signing Jackie Robinson.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. That took a lot of courage on him as much as it did on Jackie. I mean, he took a lot of guts making that move, and it was the right thing to do, not just for baseball, but for society.
I mean, Joe, you could basically say the civil rights movement began with that.
Definitely so. Definitely so. That was a very risky maneuver, a true class thing to do, and the right thing to do.
And Jackie did it the best he could. Great player and a great human being. And if you don't know who Jackie Robinson is, get the hell out of baseball right now.
I got to give you that. And you know what? As great as Jackie is, you got to give his wife Rachel the same amount of credit. She went through the same stuff.
Sitting in the seats hearing all that stuff, she's just one classy lady, Joe.
She is. She is. I agree with that.
What a great human being.
Always
People
friendly.
don't
She always
realize
has a smile on her face.
What she had to go through.
Right. Right. People don't get it. I mean, that's
She was
true.
and you met her. She's just a classy lady.
She
Joe.
is a classy lady. She just is a class lady. Always a smile on her face. Yeah, she's something. But I could see Branch Rickey being the best ever just because of those two things alone. But the Dodgers had a lot of great ones. They had Branch Rickey. Al Campanis was a great general manager.
Right. George Weiss, of course, with the Barrel. You know, the Yankees got two of the greatest general managers of all time in the top 10, arguably the top 5.
Yeah.
George Weiss did a great job taking over for Barrel.
Very true. Very true.
So, you know.
And again, this is stuff that should be in Baseball 101 and in your case, Yankee 101.
Yes, so Yankee fans, I think I know my history.
I don't think anybody would ever doubt that with any of your phone calls, Mr. Yankee.
You know, I went on Facebook one time and mentioned about Mariano Rivera, and I got slaughtered, man. I got called me names and this and that. Finally,
Yankee fans did?
The guy who runs it says no more calling names. So that's one good thing. But yeah, I got hammered, Joe.
Just for telling the truth.
Yeah, and you know what? I love Mariano Rivera. He's a class guy, wonderful guy. But he pitched one inning. The save meant nothing. A lot of times those saves meant nothing. How many times did he have to face the top hitters in the lineup?
Right.
That's yeah. You can't just face 6, 7, 8, 9 all the time.
Well, and not only how many times did he face the top guys, he never faced them twice.
No. So yeah, that cutter was an amazing pitch. First time around. Second time around, oh yeah, and please, people, God did not give him that pitch. Keep God out of sports, please. I mean,
he was taught that
guys,
pitch.
God doesn't care who wins the games. He's not betting up there with St. Pete.
Hey, leave Pete out of this.
Right? There's not betting going on in heaven.
No.
Keep God for the special things in your life, not sports.
There you go.
Oh, God gave me the courage to like I love fighters. I want to thank God for giving me all the stuff to beat the hell out of this other guy. What? God doesn't care if you beat the hell out of another guy. Come on, guys.
Not in the ring, he doesn't.
It doesn't belong in sports. Yeah, if you want to pray privately, that's fine. But come on, guys. I want to thank God for giving. He doesn't have nothing to do with you winning a game.
No, but you know.
Oh my God.
Those of you out there, if you want to pray that we get our baseball back, please pray away, because we do not have the game as it used to be.
Well, Joe, I don't think right now it's ever going to go back.
It doesn't look like it, and I don't think fans will be there in the next 15 years.
They don't have the players anymore, Joe.
No, they sure don't.
Pitch, and players can't play both ways anymore.
Right. They have ruined the game. I mean, they really have. You know, when you have guys like Goose Gossage, Pete Rose, Lou Piniella, Joe Madden, when you have those caliber of baseball people telling you that they can't even watch the game anymore because it's not the same, that's pathetic. And they don't care, and baseball doesn't care. And, you know, and you're talking about, you know, your former manager there, Joe Torre, he's part of the problem. He's letting this stuff go on.
And you know, Joe, actually, Joe, the Yankees are losing customers. People are getting tired. They don't realize people don't want to see this type of baseball.
Every team's losing fans. I mean, it's not what they want to see. They don't want to see the salaries. They don't want to see the showboating.
Oh,
They don't want to see the game being ruined. You know, no
no.
excitement, no hit and runs, no stolen bases. You just sit there and, okay, is this guy going to hit a home run or strike out? That's not exciting.
I mean, people put on the shift, and these guys are going for it anyway.
Yeah,
Why the hell with the shift? I'm still going to hit a home run.
yeah.
You know what?
Punch it to the opposite
Billy
field
Ball
and
was,
you've got a double.
you know, uh, Billy, Billy Martin managed so many teams. Every team they won, and he played Billy Ball.
Right.
If it wasn't for him, Ricky Henderson would have never stole all those bases. He says, "Get on there and give me a base."
Yeah. Well, and you know, and you speak about analytics, and Billy Bean gets credit for being, you know, the starter for analytics
One of them, yeah.
and those kind of things.
Bill,
And where, how many world championship rings does he have because of analytics? 0.
Well, the other guy too, the godfather of analytics is Bill James.
Right.
And he's with the Boston Red Sox.
Right.
And they did pretty good. So, you know, look, Joe, everything's going to work. I mean, you know, if you get the right players, everything's going to work. Anything's going to work.
Yeah, it still comes
But you
down to
gotta have
scouting and the players. That should
Yeah.
still be the focus, and unfortunately, it's not anymore.
No. The Yankees and Dodgers, they got, 25, 30 guys up in their analytics department.
Yeah.
How did the old time managers make it, Joe? How did they make it if they didn't have all this stuff?
Because they were baseball guys. The managers today,
Yeah.
you know, can't make their own decisions. They're taking orders from those guys up in the booth. It's just not right. That's
Yeah.
another bad thing about it. It's just not right.
I mean, look at the last two World Series. Though. The Dodgers should have won both of those.
Yeah.
But
Too many pitching
but-
changes, too many stupid things that, you know,
stupid moves that the manager made wasn't according to baseball.
Right.
And they lost.
right.
Taking out too many pitches, having a revolving door on your pitches now. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
that's not the way to win.
What Houston did in that World Series, Charlie Morton, he was coming in relief pitching 3-4 innings. Not 3 different pitchers.
Right.
One pitcher.
Right. That's what they need
You know,
to do.
you just can't. Well, you know, this guy does this, so I'll bring in this guy. If you can't hit Major League pitching, get the hell out of Major Leagues.
That's it. That's it. And the only way to hit it is to swing level, hit to the opposite field, be able to hit some to
Oh, my
left.
God.
You know, when in batting practice before a game, they used to try to hit, you know, 3 or 4 pitches to left field, to center field, to right field. You don't see that anymore. It's how many can I hit into the stands?
Now they got this. A couple teams got this fence over the pitches now, and you got to hit it over that, so you have to swing up.
I think it's unanimous in our opinions that they have ruined and are ruining the game of baseball. No
Why
doubt
ruin
about
a great game, Joe?
it. I just don't get it. I just don't get it.
Why? You know, it's just like in the football, which is a tougher sport. I agree. You know, you can't touch the quarterback anymore. You can't touch the receiver anymore. You get a decent guy standing back there all day. He's going to complete passes.
Right. Very true. Very true.
You know, but now, you know, in the old days, guys like Bobby Lane and all these quarterbacks that were tough, man. They had a quarterback.
That's very true. I think all of sports is changing. But Mr. Yankee, I want to thank you very much for calling in today. We appreciate that. And have a great day. Have a great rest of your week.
Okay.
All right. We will talk to you soon. Thank you for calling.
All right. Bye-bye.
You gotta love the guy. He's spirited. There's something to be said for that.
He is spirited. He. There is no doubt that he knows baseball 101
Very good point.
like anybody. Some people may know it just as well. Nobody knows it better.
Good point, and it's kind of fun to listen to him when he gets rolling, because he definitely is not shy about his opinion. He's more than willing to share it, and a lot of folks will say things about guys like that, but we need folks like that. It keeps life entertaining.
Boy, that's for sure. He gets caught up in his emotion, but he is always right. Always right with what he says. He has a great baseball mind and memory. We thank him for always calling in and contributing.
Good point.
Just a great guy, great knowledge in all sports, but he is a Yankee. And that information about how the Yankees got so good with the Babe Ruth era and the trade with Ed Barrow, who does know that? How many Yankee fans knew that it was that their team was called the Baltimore Orioles, and then that team moved to New York and became the Highlanders and then the Yankees? How many Yankee fans knew that?
I doubt very many. I'm sure there's a few hardcore like himself, but I doubt for the most part the fans up there or in New York would know that, because that's so far back. Most people can't look past last week, let alone last century.
Yeah, I'll go with 10 fans at the most knew that.
You think that many?
No,
and
I was said at the most.
You're talking about the guys who work in the history department of the team.
It's just, it's just amazing what he knows. But thank you again, Mr. Yankee, for your contributions. But if you want to get in touch with us, please email us at myinsidepitch@gmail.com. No spaces. myinsidepitch@gmail.com. We'll take your questions. We'll take your topics that you want to talk about. Feel free to call. We really look forward to listening to you guys, giving you the information that you want. Brian?
Joe?
Okay. We got a trivia question for you. Who is the Marlins all-time leader in Grand Slams? Who is the Marlins all-time leader in Grand Slams? If you know that without cheating, please give us a call or send your answer in to myinsidepitch@gmail.com. That's what you need to do. If you are living in the south part of Alabama and you need to get a home loan, please contact our Brian from USA Mortgage at 251-616-0005, and he will share his baseball knowledge with you and then get you the best loan you can get. And on that note, thank you very much for listening. It's good to be back. We're looking forward to next week, and have a great evening. Thank you very much.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great night, Joe.
You too, Brian. Take care.
Bye.